Ask any European, South American, or African fan what to call the world's most popular sport, and they will tell you it is football. Call it soccer, and you are stepping into one of the most hostile semantic debates in global sports. The anger stems from a specific assumption that soccer is a stubborn American invention, born out of a refusal to adopt the global standard. But the historical record tells a different story. Americans didn't invent the word soccer. It is a blue-blooded British creation. If the British created the word soccer, why did they abandon it so aggressively that it caused a massive global linguistic divide? In mid-19th century England, football was a broad category. It described any chaotic, folk-style game played on foot, rather than on horseback. When students at elite schools finally began writing down official rules in the 1860s, the ancient game split into two competing codes: rugby football, where players could carry the ball, and association football, which restricted play mostly to the feet. This split created a practical problem on campus. Students had to find a way to distinguish between the codes without constantly repeating this 7-syllable phrase, association football. In the 1880s, a linguistic fad swept through elite British universities like Oxford. Students developed a habit of chopping words to a single syllable and adding the suffix "er." A freshman became a fresher. Breakfast became brekker. Rugby football clipped to rugger. Applying this to association required velar hardening. Students extracted sock, changed the soft S to a hard K, and tacked on "er." The result was soccer, eventually spelled S-O-C-C-E-R. The most debated word in modern sports history began its life as the Victorian equivalent of trendy teen slang. For decades, a popular founding myth credited a single man with coining the term. According to the story, Charles Refford Brown, an Oxford student and football captain, invented the word over breakfast in his college dining hall. But the timeline reveals a flaw in the legend. Refford Brown didn't enroll at Oxford until 1886. By late 1885, the word had already appeared in student magazines like the Marlburian and the Radleian, distributed across different parts of the country. This widespread geography shows that soccer was a viral, decentralized cultural phenomenon, spreading organically among the British elite well before any single person could claim ownership of it. As the sport expanded globally, soccer traveled with it, quickly catching on in America, Canada, and Australia. These countries were already developing their own distinct gridiron games. They used the British slang to differentiate the association game from their own collision-heavy sports, which had already claimed the name football. For decades, soccer functioned as a standard tool for the English-speaking world, providing a clear distinction between the various codes of football emerging across the globe. Back in the UK, the British happily used soccer and football interchangeably in literature and the press well into the late 20th century. This changed in the 1970s and 80s when the sport experienced a massive, flashy commercial boom in the United States. To distinguish the game from this new American iteration, British fans and media began treating soccer as a foreign import. They eventually stopped using the word altogether, reverting to football to cement the sport's domestic identity. The American use of soccer preserves a 130-year-old piece of elite British culture, a term the British themselves once championed, but later chose to discard.